Hello, this is Pastor Laura Cavendish, and I serve at St. Paul Lutheran Church in Asheville. It is story time, and today we continue with some Bible reading from Frolic First Bible, and we are telling the stories of God's covenant people. Covenant means that God makes promises to real-life people. And that Old Testament or those Hebrew scriptures tell us about all those people that God encountered and called into connection with him. Now, we read on Tuesday that story of who Jesus was, and we trust and understand that it's Jesus who showed us and brought us the presence of God in human form. And so these covenant people from the Old Testament, they're just like us. And they, through their story, saw that God had promises for them. So we're going to read about those covenant people as we enter into story time today. So let's get to the story. Here we are in the Frolic First Bible, and we will start at the beginning this time. And there's a welcoming page, but it's got some nice artwork to look at. I especially like that one to remind us that Jesus has promises and a story for kids, and then all the people. Okay, first story about covenant people is creation story. God made the earth, sky, and sea. God made the sun, moon, and stars. God filled the earth with plants and animals. And then God made people. Care for my creation, God told them. At the end of each day, God said, "It is good." And then God rested. God created you too. Okay, and here are some other people who received promises. God told Noah, "Build a boat, fill it with animals." So Noah did. Animals came aboard 2 by 2, from alligators to zebras. Rain came down. The boat floated. Water covered the whole earth. When the land dried, God made a rainbow in the sky. God took care of Noah, his family, and all the animals. There's that rainbow. God takes care of you and your family. All right. Here are 2 covenant people, Abraham and Sarah. God promised Abraham and his wife Sarah. God promised Abraham that his wife Sarah would have a baby. Abraham was amazed. "I'm so old, can it really be?" Sarah laughed and wondered, "How can an old woman like me have a baby?" But God's promise came true. Abraham and Sarah were blessed with a son. They named him Isaac. You are a blessing to your family, and that's a promise for you as a covenant person. Joseph's father loved him best. Joseph's brothers felt so jealous. They found a way to get rid of him. But God helped Joseph stay safe. Years later, the brothers were hungry. Joseph had plenty of food. "I forgive you," Joseph said. "God kept me safe. Now I can help you." And that was about Joseph and his brothers. And we remember that families can forgive each other. And here's a covenant person that we have studied about before, baby Moses. Baby Moses' mother needed to keep him safe from danger. She made a basket to hide him. His sister watched as he floated along the river. The king's daughter found Moses. His sister stepped close. She said, "I know someone to care for him." And Moses and his mother could stay together. And in this story, we remember families protect each other. Here's more on Moses. Moses and the Exodus. God told Moses, "Tell Pharaoh to let my people leave Egypt." But Pharaoh said, "No." So God sent frogs and bugs and sickness and storms. Pharaoh finally said, "Go." Moses led God's people. Pharaoh's army chased them. God parted the Red Sea, and God's people walked across. They were safe. You are one of God's people. Hannah and Samuel. Hannah prayed for a baby. She made a promise to God. "If you give me a son, I will teach him to serve you." God answered Hannah's prayer. She named her baby Samuel. One night when Samuel was a boy, he woke up suddenly, and God called, "Samuel." And Samuel said, "Speak, Lord, I am listening." As Samuel grew, he served God. Children can serve God. That's a good thing to remember. Here's another about God's covenant people. David and Goliath. Goliath was a giant man. "Send a man to fight me," he told God's people. "Fight the giant, not us." The people were afraid. Then young David spoke up. "I will face him. God is with me," he said. Brave David aimed his slingshot. The stone hit Goliath's head, and the giant fell down. David won. It's a cute picture with the big feet of Goliath. God helps you be brave. And now about Daniel. We studied about Daniel in VBS last summer. The law said, "Pray to the king or go into the lion's den." But Daniel prayed only to God. So the king's men threw Daniel to the lions. God's angel closed the lions' mouths. They couldn't even roar. In the morning, Daniel was alive. The king was amazed and said, "Daniel's God has saved him." God is with you when you're scared. There's another promise for all of us who are covenant people. All right, I think there's more. Jonah. God told Jonah, "Share my message." But Jonah said no and sailed away from God. God sent a terrible storm. "Throw me into the sea and it will stop," Jonah told the sailors. "Ugh, gulp, a huge fish swallowed Jonah." Inside the fish, Jonah told God he was sorry, and God made the fish spit out Jonah. He was safe, and then Jonah shared God's message. And the promise for covenant people in this story is, you can say, "I'm sorry" to God. There we are where we were on Tuesday when we were telling Jesus' story. I don't know if you remember that. We started with Jesus is born. So if you missed that Tuesday video, go back and watch it now, and you will be able to hear the whole story of Jesus and his ministry and his death and resurrection. great little Bible from Frolic First Bible. Hey, here I am sitting on the floor with my reading glasses on, and we have done both these parts of this Bible, and so maybe this is your first time you can say, I read the whole Bible. Now, yes, it was a kid's Bible. There are grown-ups that read the whole Bible in all its little details and little print and hard words, and it is a joy and a blessing. So keep growing that way. And it was good to share God's word. Bye-bye.